Hello everyone, welcome back to The Real Starfighter, and today we're going to be talking about list building. Now, list building to me is one of my favorite parts of X-Wing miniatures. It reminds me of drafting during a fantasy football season because me and my friends always agreed that when you draft well for fantasy football, your fantasy football season is a lot more fun. Same thing goes with X-Wing miniatures. The better you build your list, the better the foundation for building your list, the more fun you have playing X-Wing. So these are the four things I consider when I am building a list for X-Wing miniatures. Number one is attack. Now, the way I get the values to determine the power of the attack is by adding up all the attack values on all the pilot and ship cards. If the attack value is 8 or lower, that is a low attack. If it's between 9 and 11, it's a middle, it's a medium. And if it's 12 or higher, it is a high attack ship or list. Defense is kind of the same way, but I lower the values a little bit because there are some ships in X-Wing that have 0 or only 1 green die. For 6 and lower, that is a low defense. Between 7 and 9 is middle. And 10 and greater is a high defense list. Next up is maneuverability. Now, maneuverability, I don't necessarily count all the maneuvers. I count how many maneuvers it can do. The more of the templates I can use, the more maneuverable I believe the ship is. And based on that, I give it a rating. I give it a rating as opposed to like a ranking or numerical value. And I also count the number of maneuvers that do not stress the ship. You want to make sure that you can move around without getting stressed so you can do your actions. So I take both how many maneuvers you can do and how many maneuvers you can do without taking a stress token you can do. And the last thing I look at is ability. Now, ability is just counting up the number of pilot and ship abilities you have in your list. This is just kind of like icing on top of the cake. That these are my tiebreaker points. I want a list that can do more, has more game triggers, because that means it has more potential. I want as much potential as I can, and then as the game progresses, I want to eliminate that potential and use more and more and more and show what I can do with it. By just getting more abilities, you just have more things you can do within the game. So let's start taking a look at some of these lists that I've kind of created here. So I created this TIE Defender with Vader and Rear Admiral Chinaroo list. Now this is something you might commonly see in Extended because everyone wants to fly a Vader, and Decimator is always a good choice for a 2-ship list for Empire. The attack value here is 6, the defense is 3, the maneuverability is a rating of excellent, and the ability is 3. Now, this is a lower end list, but is it still competitive? Yes. Why do I think it's competitive? Is because the pilot abilities of Rear Admiral Chinaroo and Vader are pure offense. They make the 6 attack dice always work in their favor. Between their abilities, adding upgrades like 000 and BT1, we're just looking at a very high defense, a high offense list with utilizing our 6 attack dice to the fullest potential. The next list we're going to look at is a Rebel list, and this is actually a really good example of superior maneuvering. This is what I consider a superior maneuvering list. We got Wedge, Cornhorn, Jake, and Hera. Now, what makes it superior is the E-Wing. The E-Wing is one of the only ships, I believe, in the game that has access to all the templates in X-Wing that you are given in the core set. It has all the straights, all the banks, and all the hard turns. Now, what makes the E-Wing even greater because of that is it can stay with Wedge, and it can keep up with the A-Wings. So that's why I love the E-Wing so much, because it can do both roles. And this is what a superior dial looks like. This is what I think is one of the best dials in the game. Now, looking at the stat line, this list has an attack of 10, a defense of 11, a maneuverability rating of superior because of the E-Wing and the 2 A-Wings, and an ability of 7. Now, this to me is an example of a well-balanced list. Anything that has their numbers like super close, if the numbers are super close, I think that's a well-balanced list. That's why I do this numerical. Form to look at lists, because it tells me, is it balanced? Is it something that I can rely on both on attack and defense? And these numbers tell me, yes, it does. The next one we'll look at is this 4 TIE interceptor list. Now, this is an example of a higher end one. We have an attack value of 12, a defense value of 12, a maneuverability rating of excellent, and an ability number of 8. Now, I like this list a lot because it's really easy for these ships to stay with one another because they're all the same dial. They do lack in the lower speed, so they don't have the only ones they have are 1 hard turns. So they can't really stay behind a lot of people too easily. They'll overshoot, so you really got to learn how to fly that a little bit differently. But I think it's well balanced, and it's on the higher end of attack and defense. So if I was going to a tournament and I was looking at these 3 lists, I would pick the interceptor list because it is on the higher end and because it has a good maneuverability rating and it has a high ability rating. It has the most potential. It's on the high end, therefore it can only get better from there based on this formula of list building. Now, again, this is just my formula of how I build lists. It doesn't have to be yours. It's not the correct way, but it's not the incorrect way. I've had a lot of success doing it this way. I've been doing this since the 1.0 days, and it's been really helpful. I really like looking numerically at what my list can do on paper. Like, what is it designed to do within the game parameters? Now, I know we all have these crazy ideas that we want to do if we do this and this and this and this, but look at it at a game and tactical way. Look at it at gaming and tactical and say, okay, does it attack well? Does it defend well? Is it maneuverable? And am I using the abilities? To me, I think those are the 4 things that we use in X-Wing a lot. Attacking, defending, maneuvering, and piloting ability and ship abilities. So I always look at those when I'm building a list. Any crazy combo that I can make, that just comes out of the ability section. I mean, if you want to make crazy combos, then cool. That's a point. That's a couple points for your ability. But there's 4 other sections that you neglect when you only think about the abilities and things you can do around it. So again, I like considering attack, defense, maneuverability, and ability when I build my X-Wing miniatures lists. If you guys have any lists you want me to review or want me to help you reinforce or make better, go ahead and leave them in the comments. Like, leave a Yet Another Squad Builder 2.0 link in the comments, and I'll totally look at it, and I'll even maybe do a video reviewing it or checking it out. If you don't know what Yet Another Squad Builder is, I'll leave the link in the description. It's a great website for you to go and build a list, print it out. You can even put it in a tabletop simulator. It just does so much for the community. Everyone uses it because it's just a really great resource. It has all the ships in there, all the cards. You can read and brush up on it. It even blocks out cards you can't put on certain ships. It's just a really easy, great way to get lists out quickly. So if you don't know about it and haven't checked it out, go ahead and go check it out. And if you want to build a list for me to review and help you make it more tactical for wargaming, just leave it in the comments and I'll gladly do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If this video helped you out, make sure you share it with a friend. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. This place crawls, and remember to always check your 6.